I want to set the stage. Why are we starting with this idea of living my best life? Were you to, and again, as a subject matter expert and having done this with almost, I touch about 100 people every year. I've been doing this for many, many years. I've probably coached about 1,000 people. I've lost count many years ago. When I ask clients whether they are CXOs or, let's say average people I meet on the street, I don't do small talk anymore. If I, Ron, had to meet you on a street in Ascot, I would ask you, how are you going? Are you happy? How is life? I'm not going to ask about the weather or anything casual. That's just where I have reached. And when I ask that question, 90% of the people, that 95, maybe even greater, answer, this is the same answer I hear. I just want to be happy. Right. And today, what we want to, especially my Kickstarters, right? This is the question, that this is the feeling maybe that you have often felt. I just want to be happy. I just want to chill. I want to be, I want to relax. I want to be happy. And then the question is, how? What I want to do today is I want to unpack this idea of living my best life, wanting to be happy a little bit. Believe it or not, when I got into this, there are people, there are happiness scientists. There are people who do this for a living. There is immense research around it. And do you know that every single human is designed to yearn for this? This is not accidental. This is not just you sitting on your lounger on a Sunday thinking, I just want to be happy. What is the meaning of my life? You are wired to feel that way. And what is unfortunate is that while we go to school to learn algebra and calculus, we are never given the manual around this. So this is the attempt to give you some construct on which you begin to realize that your own let's say doubts or your questions or your anxieties, you are not alone in this. This is eternal. This is as long as human beings been around, they have felt this. What is it that I need in my life to make me feel happy, for me to live my best life? So here is the research. Yeah, so scientists don't like simple words. So happy is just too easy. So scientists call it subjective well-being. You can Google it. There's just, there's immense amounts of research. My own style is to simplify because I feel like the brain can only process so much before it becomes blah, blah. For those of you who are very technical or have a very sharp mind, you are welcome to delve deeper in this. As a side note, after the class, you are going to get access to a library of resources, and that library of resources will continue to get populated. So for those who like additional reading, you will get plenty. So research shows that the definition of a best life, the definition of I just want to be happy, is an experience of subjective well-being, aka happiness, plus meaning. So human beings are designed to need both. Happiness, which is subject, and we will unpack that further, as well as meaning. It's one or the other is not enough in itself. And so when you look at subjective well-being, what contributes to that subjective well-being? If were I to, and again, research, my own little mini research, think about it, take a moment and think about it. As soon as you say, what is it that makes me, what contributes to happiness? You are going to feel these I'm not going to read out slides because I think you can read it as well as I can. But the idea is that there are domains that contribute to subjective well-being: family life, career, health. Over the last 15 months, big topic, connection. So feeling part of communities, feeling a sense of belonging. All of those contribute to subjective well-being. The definition of subjective well-being, here it is: experience of frequent positive state, absence of negative states. And this is very scientific sounding because it is a scientific definition, but in common layman term, if I had to come out in the park and ask a little child, that child would completely know that some things make me feel good and happy and some things not so. And this is as little as 3 year olds. You can do a research in your own life. As little as 3 year olds can respond to that, that this is, you know, happy creating. The inside out experience of living your best life is comes directly from specific domains that you identify. So one person could think that the number one contributor is the happiness of my children. Somebody could think that the number one contributor to my happiness is the well-being of my aging parents or grandparents. For some people, it could be the state of the environment. The domains might change. However, what remains the same is that whatever I give priority to, when I can tick off and feel that those are in a good position, that is me living my best life. So you can begin to see now that the work that you need to do is be able to identify what are those things, what are those contributors. And career can be one, school can be one, and intimate relating can be one. The more diverse is your basket, the more you have to plug into when one or two hit a wall. So over the last 15 months, a lot of us have been on a gap year. Actually, the whole world has been on a gap year, right? I mean, in the past, college students, especially in Europe, would take a gap year. We've had an involuntary gap year for a lot of us professionals. And when our basket had 100% of our living our best life only on our success in career, we had nothing else to fall back on. And so the suggestion now to you is have a look at your basket. How does your basket look? And are you able to bring diversity into that basket so that there are many contributors in different proportion at any given time that deliver that sense of happiness or positive states to you? And that's lesson number one. Okay, that's the first takeaway from this masterclass, if you will, that immediately takes away the pressure from you on how your career is panning out in the short term. Of course, in the long term, you want to be in the right place and you want to experience success. But when you're having a bad day or a bad week or a bad month, things are hard. What else do you have in your basket? That's going to make a difference of how you cope with what's going on at work. And for my employers on this call, this is really important to feed into for your young starters. That do they have the awareness? Do they have the tools? Do they have the conversation space that the basket cannot just be the job at hand? And that actually feeds then to more productivity, more profitability, a more content workforce, and more results. And that conversation now is not an HR conversation, that is a business critical conversation, right? So that's the first takeaway. How does your basket that feeds your living my best life conversation, how is that basket, how does it look today, and how can it be? So that's the first takeaway.